What's happening, people? Jono from Fitness Education Online. Super excited for this week's episode on how to get clients for your personal training business. Very special guest. This guy is the best business coach in Western Sydney. He's not too far from me. I'm on the east coast of Sydney. He's on the west side of Sydney. Now, if you're new to Sydney, there's a bit of rivalry, east and west. Long story short, they suck at sport, really. You know, in Sydney, there's always a Sydney team for every sport and a Western Sydney team. The Sydney team usually wins the comp every year, whether it's soccer, rugby league, Australian football, whatever. The Western Sydney team usually comes last. But just because they're bad at sport doesn't mean they're bad people. They're very good people. They're just not good at sport. But anyway, this man, Matt Papallo, is the best business coach in Western Sydney, specializes in personal trainers working in gyms as well. So if you work in a gym, he's the person you want to speak to. If you're from Western Sydney, he's the person you want to speak to. So let's hand it over to Matt. Just before we do, usual deal, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And also, we'd love for you to join our community Facebook group. We've got the largest Facebook group in the world for fitness professionals. There's like 14,000 of us in there. Would love to have you in there. The link is in the description, so make sure to join. Let's hear it from Matt.
Tip number one for how to get more PT clients. First thing that I recommend here is to ask the right questions. Now, the thing that you want to do is when you ask the right questions is when do you ask these questions? You want to ask them when you are qualifying the person, the lead. So you don't want to be asking the right questions, so to speak, after you've already offered them a complimentary session. Remember, us as PTs, our biggest commodity is our time. So we want to make sure that we're giving our time, our biggest commodity, to the right people that want it and will value it. So you want to be qualifying them in the right way by asking the right questions. Now, these questions, there are 3 questions. I'm not going to go through all 3 because obviously we're going to get quite in depth here. And I want to just make sure that you know before you take on any new lead for a comp session, make sure that you ask them the right questions to get to that answer you want, which the answer is, do they want coaching? Do they want long-term personal training? So what I'd recommend you to do is to devise a series of 2, 3, or 4 questions that you ask every lead to know that they are not going to be wasting your biggest commodity, your time. That's tip number 1 for you right there. Tip number 2 is all about being consistent with your service. So what is the point of coming in and training your clients if you're going to be either tired, you've had a late night, you're like, oh, look, I'm going to go out with the mates, have a late night, and you come up, 6 a.m. is your first client, you get there and it's 6:05, you've got a coffee in your hand, you look tired. Is that consistent with your service? Are you going to be doing that day in, day out? The answer is no. So to get more clients, you want to make sure that firstly, your service is consistent day in, day out. High standards consistently. If you're going to be varying and you're going to be going good service, then terrible service, then I'm not even there because I've slept in. What's the point of looking for more clients? Because they're just going to come in easy and they're going to go easy. And that's what you don't want. So that's tip number 2 for you right there. Tip number 3 is my favorite. Now, this is train people like everybody is watching you. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean, if you are coaching somebody and you're in a session and you're there, they're doing their set, let's say they're on the chest press, you're counting out the reps, then they stop and you're like, okay, cool job. Then you pick up your phone and you just start scrolling through Facebook. If your employer or if everybody in the gym is watching you and judging you, would you be on your phone? No. You'd be there going, okay, what should I be doing? I'll talk to them, ask them these questions. How are you feeling? What are you doing? What are you doing on the weekend? How'd you go? Okay, oh, look, that's time. Let's go. Let's go to the next set. Be on spot. Make sure that you are actually training them how you should be, like everybody's watching you, like your employer is watching you, because at the end of the day, people will judge you and judge if they want to be trained by you based on how you're training your clients. So they're always watching you, whether you think they are or not. So if you're there standing with a coffee, you're on your phone, you're on Facebook, don't expect to be getting more clients and people approaching you. Expect the opposite. But if you're doing the opposite and you're there and you're giving your energy, expect people to come up to you and want that. So that is tip number 3 for you.
I love that guy. He's good, right? He's professional, he's polished, he's smart, knows what he's talking about. So I recommend follow Matt on social media. Matt, where do we go to hear more about you?
Simple. Look, you can go to my website, which is www.ptstartuptosuccess.com. So ptstartuptosuccess.com. Go on there. You can see basically what I've got, not on offer, but what I do. And what I do is I help rent-based personal trainers to basically build that lifestyle they want. What I have for myself is what I teach others how to do. So I work 4.5 days a week as a personal trainer, making $2,000 to $5,000 a week doing that. And I live the lifestyle that I want. And that's what I teach others to do as well. So all they've got to do is head over to the website. There's ways to contact me, even ways to book in a free 20-minute discovery call with no commitments. And all the times listed there. So it's pretty straightforward, Jono.
So that's it for today's episode. I would love to invite you into the Fitness Education Online community Facebook group if you're not in there already. It's a free Facebook group. There's thousands of trainers in there. We all share tips and ideas. Everyone's super supportive. And that's really what we do at Fitness Education Online. So I'll see you in there.